Hello, everyone. It is the Author's Dilemma show. It is 6:30 Thursday, and if you are here, it's going to be a good show because that's my fallback. That's what I always say. It's going to be a fantastic show. I feel a little bit cheated this week because I lost an hour. I had an hour stolen from me at some point this past weekend, except for those of you that live in parts of Arizona and in Hawaii. I am not jealous,
And
not
my wife is
one.
jealous.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
jealous.
not jealous one bit.
Quit
All the-
lying.
Yes,
Yes, you are.
yes, I am lying through my teeth. This is my lying face. So, not lying, rar, my lying.
Oh, we're not lying.
Yeah,
Yep.
but dum. So, everyone, my name is J.E. Jack. I write horror, supernatural thrillers, and urban fantasies, and whatever comes across my way. So, that's me.
Yes, and I'm Hyrum Hawks, and I write hard sci-fi and hard sci fantasy.
And I am Jennifer Carr, and I write Christian fiction as well as clean contemporary romance.
All right. So this is our 10th episode. This is a anniversary of sorts. Yeah, 2 whole hands. We finally have reached and now
After
we're
this,
done.
we have to take off our shoes.
Yes. So, if you happen to be, well, I'm not sure if we have any, but if you're watching now and we just can't see you, be sure to pop in the comments, tell us where you're watching, and if you're listening to this in the car, hey, we appreciate you spending your time with us. So, Hiram, what's going on in your business this week?
Well, mostly, this is part of the author's dilemma. Is the day job. I've been mostly hunting jobs. I'm glad I'm in a writers group because I did have. It forced me. I wrote a couple thousand words of the book and rewrote a chapter of my book. So for writers group tonight, and so I had to get that done early in the week. And so, even though I'm really distracted by the job, I am also keeping myself somewhat into the writing game by having people I am required to give some writing to, and I think that's a very important part of the writing game is being responsible to others.
Well, accountability. Oh, hey, I'm hearing myself. I
That's
think
weird.
technical difficulties, folks. It's okay. Yeah, Hiram, I think it's on your end, brother.
Woo! All right, he's just gonna mute it.
It's okay.
We'll figure you out.
Yes. So, yes, I mean that's the biggest thing about writing is accountability. I mean, sometimes that's why I post a lot of stuff on my Facebook of like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm doing, what I'm doing, because it kind of lights that fire under my rear that I need to produce and I need to do more. Jen, what's going on in your world? What's your business?
What's my business? Well, I would love to let y'all into my business. So I am at like 63,000 words on my third manuscript of this series. It has just been it has just flowed out of me. And I decided last night, Wednesday nights, the drive home from church is apparently like my inspiration time. And so I'd already planned book 4. And last night I was like, we're rounding it out with 5. And so I kind of have a rough outline in my head for that. So I'm excited that I love the series so much that I'm not like tired of it. Like sometimes like with the first 2 books, I loved the characters and I love the stories, but I didn't fall in love with them. And so I'm kind of like, I'm obsessed with these. And so I think I'm pretty excited about that. And I have a vinyl sticker collection and bookish accessories line launching on my website after this weekend. I'm pretty excited about that too.
Do you have any with you right now?
I have one sitting right here and I really love it. And I designed all these, but I have somebody else print them and cut them. And it's a storybook with dragons and a castle.
It has dragons.
It does. And I want to send them to y'all, but I haven't gotten your addresses. Don't give them over here because everybody else.
Yes, I live at no.
Right. And you can catch me grocery shopping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yes. So for those of you that aren't watching this live, she has these little stickers that and the image that, or the ones that she just brought up, was like a little book and it had a little dragon, and actually it kind of reminded me of like one of those Disney castles, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's really neat.
Thanks.
I look forward to seeing how you utilize that. And actually, I wouldn't mind hearing the feedback that you get from that as well.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. They're vinyl, which means they're waterproof, they're dishwasher proof,
Oh.
so you can stick them on your water tumblers and take them with you and put them in the dishwasher. So anyway,
Where'd you get them, if you don't mind me
Okay,
asking?
yeah, put that link up in the chat. Or-
okay. Yeah, I'll stick it up there and let's see.
Yeah, we need to.
Got
Yeah,
it.
we'll include that in the show notes,
Sticker
folks,
app
if you're listening to it.
It's easy.
Stickerapp.com
Yep.
with 2 P's.
Like
Actually,
the
that's
application.
yeah, application. Yeah.
It's Pi Day.
It is Pi Day.
I had
Think
no
about
pie
it.
today.
Time to buy. I'm so mad I don't have pie.
I know.
Well, I'm on an extreme diet right now, so I
but
can't
it's
have any of that.
pie day.
Unless this weekend I cheat on the weekends, but during the week I am very strict about the way I eat and what I eat. So
That's
and what I
fair.
drink too. So I've lost like almost 13, 14 pounds in the past
for you.
month and a half. So that's good. So for me, I finished the my urban fantasy last week, and now I'm in the editing part, and I've gotten through 6 chapters of 38 chapters.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing,
It goes
right?
so
It's like,
slow.
I mean, you talk about liking your books or liking your series. I tell you, every book I'm like, this is a slog. I hate this. It's funny, the meme that you shared today in our chats with I can't remember it, but how it goes through the like, I'm editing
All the
this.
file names.
Oh, right. It's the file names. It's like first draft, second draft. I hate my life draft. And that's kind of how I'm at right now. I'm having trouble with my mailer. I've been talking about this newsletter for a month now, and I'm having trouble with logging in. Like, I created this account and now I'm not. Anyway, technical difficulties with that. So I seem to be having a lot of those. Still in dealing with Facebook ads. I'm trying to learn Amazon ads, but I'm still having issues there. But hey, this is where we continue to learn every day, and we look back. For those that are listening and those that are starting their journey, there's going to be times when you're going to get frustrated and you're like, well, I don't know everything, and we don't know everything. But every day you put in a little effort, a year from now, you're going to look back. That's 365 days of a little effort that ends up being a lot of effort. So, don't stress out. It's okay. And I'm talking to myself as well as I say this. So
Yeah.
my hair's not on
And I'll
fire.
throw us for those of you who don't feel that you're capable of a daily thing, if you can put in a bunch of effort once a week, you can still succeed. It does. Your consistency doesn't necessarily have to be daily. Some people's jobs simply wouldn't allow it. But if every weekend you put in some extra hours, you can make just as much progress. You will make different progress. They're not the same. The daily consistency and the weekly, they're different, but you can still make great progress. Because I've never done daily.
Right.
Unless I
Glacially slow is still progress.
That's right. Absolutely. And it's so funny because my TikTok memories earlier, I think it was like 2 days ago, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, it was showing that I had just started the manuscript for Fall When You're Ready. And it was like labeled as 2022. And I thought, was it really February of 2022 is when I started it. And it came out February 2024. And it felt like the whole process went so fast. Like, it was all of a sudden I have a book out there, and it may feel like those 2 years take forever to go by, but at the same time, the knowledge and wisdom that I have gained just in those 2 years, like, I'll be doing 2 books a year at this rate, just because of everything that I've gained.
And then something I want to add to that is those 2 years are going to pass anyway.
Right.
So you might as well, even if it's once a week, if you do it every day, that's great. I used to be able to do it every day. I used to be able to work on my business every day. Since I have changed jobs, I'm very busy. I'm very busy these days, and I still try to get in. I try to every day, but sometimes I don't, and I can't. That's as you progress, you learn to adjust and you keep going, and that's why it's important. Like Hyrum was talking about, having accountability partners, and And honestly, that's why you should link up with other people that are going the same direction as you, because you help each other along. Like the Discord chat that we have, which we're going to put a link on up at some point to have people, if you want to join us. This is where we talk about our business. This is where we talk about this is where we just become friends, and we encourage each other, because it's a lonely path sometimes.
And to commiserate, because sometimes we're like, I cannot believe I'm still like stuck on this page. And then next thing you know, it's like, hey, in my celebrating wins, I finished. And it's like, yay, you've done it. And so we're there to commiserate, we're there to celebrate, and everything in between. So
That's true.
It's so important.
Plus, you can throw out your weird writing ideas that you never want to do. Like just the other day, I threw out a really bizarre idea involving
that was a
Neanderthals.
fantastic idea. I mean, honestly,
I don't want to write a horror, but
dude, I saw that. I mean, if it's done right, I'm kind of thinking about it, honestly, but, but maybe we could do a collaboration.
Yeah, see, co-authoring, that's one thing with your writing. With your writing friends,
I would tell you guys
a chance to learn other people's techniques.
Right. I would tell the audience about this book idea that you had, but I don't want to because I'm like, man, let me tell you something though. It will hit you in the feels. Well, I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I don't want to like not be able to tell people, because I don't want them to be like, well, what the heck is he talking about? So, like I said, I finished the first.
Now we're gonna have to co-write it.
Right. Yeah, I know. Now we're gonna have to. All three of us. Well, I have to. Why not? Come on. It could be your first.
There'll be a romance.
Yeah.
I got it.
Romance, horror, and paranormal all together. There we go.
Well, there's a little bit of science fiction too, because we could actually kind of maybe there's time travel involved.
Y'all.
Because we know how you love time travel. He does not like time travel at all.
No. But now I have an idea to make this book really weird. So, anyway.
And see, everyone, this is how you develop your ideas for your books. You come up with a different one. You come up with a premise. Yeah, brainstorm. This is how you do it. So I finished, like I said, the first book of my urban fantasy series, and I am going to make a series because now I already have ideas for the second novel. And that's a frustrating thing is when you do finish your first book, you immediately want to start your second book, but you got to finish your first book, which it's not done until it's actually out on the shelf. So, this is how we do it. So that's it for me and my business. So now, is there any news that I missed this week? Is there any news that you've heard of that we should probably talk about in the business world or in the book business world?
Scandal. There was a scandal in the romance narration section.
Ooh! I got my cup of coffee. Tell me. Ooh!
Spill the tea, Hyrum.
Well, I don't know. I don't know a ton of details, but I know that someone with the initials JS said or did some really awful things, and he's a narrator. I don't know the details. I don't want to know the details, but a lot of people are kind of boycotting him. But the problem is that's hurting authors, because most of his books he's not a royalty share. He got paid to narrate, and then that's it. He's in and out. But he's kind of got his own business presence, and he's a big name. So this is a very interesting question. We could do another podcast. Is how do you handle when someone you're partnered with is involved in a scandal? Because it's the same as if someone, your cover author turned out to be like some kind of, Hitler reborn. You want to change your cover, and a lot of these women want to. It's mostly women authors. It's very strongly romance authors. A lot of them want to get a new narrator, but that's expensive. And so this boycott is hitting them big time. So that's the big one I was seeing in threads.
Okay, so let me add some detail there that might help you change your opinion on why sometimes it matters. So I won't say his name because most everybody who is involved, or who has heard about it, and they know him. He's a very well-known romance book narrator. And it's a little creepy because a lot of just book listeners, book readers have a weird obsession with men in that realm. I don't know, it's weird. the obsession is gross, but that's a different. That's
Because
a
he
whole
has a
different
nice
ballgame.
voice.
Yes, and
So I should start reading romance. Is that what you're saying?
if you want weird women like making teddy bears with recordings of your voice inside.
Oh, well, hey, that could be a horror.
Ah,
So anyway, but what happened was he made some very poor choices in his life, and he harassed females. He would send some inappropriate messages to females. And then when he found out what they looked like, he would turn the tides and insult said females. There were just a lot of red flags about
weird.
this man. It was gross. Like the whole thing is just gross. And you know, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I do know that I wouldn't want my work associated or his name on my work. You know, I'm very protective of what goes into my work. Like you were saying, I mean, your cover designer, come to find out, cover design by, and their name is in your bylines or whatever, then it's kind of like, oh, you know, that might be a problem. I don't want that associated with my name. And because then it looks like you're supporting this person. So there are times I think when boycotting people caught up in scandal it's okay. But at the same time, I would want to make sure that all of my facts were there, right? I'm not saying that he did or did not do those things. I wasn't there. I don't know. But there are enough people who have come forward to say I was a victim
Right.
in some form or fashion that even one is too many, right? Like, so that's
Right. And along with that, I'm totally cool with shaming someone that did something wrong like that. You know, if someone's setting up inappropriate, unwanted, whatever. But someone's viewpoints, which we won't get into here, but you know, sometimes you hear about authors that have certain viewpoints, and you know, and then it seems like the whole world's against them, and it's like, well, you know, is it really that bad? Did they really say what they said? And see, I think that's well, here again, this is a topic for another conversation or for another podcast.
Let's just have the conversation. We're halfway through it. Let's go.
But no, I get irritated when it's like, if you actually go to the source and you hear what was said, or you hear what was written, or read what was written, and you actually see what the issues really were, and then you see a group of people confabulate. Just, well, did they even if you ask them, well, did they say that? Oh, I don't know. I just heard it from someone else. And it's like, okay, that I don't agree with. I don't agree with blanket boycotting people. I don't agree with blanket rage. I want to find out why I should, and if there's any validity. And then if there is validity, then okay, you know. But anyway, that's my soapbox, and now I'm stepping off.
No, but it's valid. It is. It's valid because I get that. Because really on TikTok, it's all hearsay, right? Like what you're hearing is like a bunch of people saying, well, this happened to so-and-so. Well, some people have like screenshots that they've posted of different things. And so you do have those evidences and that kind of thing, but you only have, once again, their side of the story. And I'm not defending anybody or persecuting anybody. I'm just saying that, yes, get all the facts out there. But if you're like, if you have a funny feeling, trust your gut about it. Like if you're saying that's too much of a could be a scandal, I mean, by all means, no, you're never obligated. Just be like, I think we're good.
Right. I think for me, especially being a law enforcement officer, it's like I trust, but I verify.
Yeah.
And so you got to have foundation, and you got to stand on foundation. And if that ground is all weak, maybe you should rethink about what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So,
but innocent until proven guilty.
So it should be, but
should be.
Yeah. Court of opinion. Yeah, court of public opinion is very, is quite different.
Not the same.
So so is there anything else? So there's that on TikTok, or there's the romance scandal. Is there anything else going on?
That was the only thing that I had thought of. Yeah.
Oh, I did see Dune, and it was better than anything I've experienced in 30
years. My brother,
since Lord of the Rings.
I've heard really good things about Dune too. I really need to. I here again, we're kind of getting off topic, but that's fine. We're enjoying ourselves, and
hopefully everybody else is.
Hopefully it's too. Which, by the way, you are watching this right now. Say hello. We'd love to. We'd love
join in.
Yes, join in the conversation. Did you see Dune 2? So it was great. My brother.
Speaking of.
Yeah. Speak of the devil. So my brother, he doesn't go to the theater ever. And so when he told me that he did that, I was like, after picking up my jaw off the ground, I was so I'm gonna have to go do that at some point. And then Justin from Pace, Florida, thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your support. He's always been a great friend of mine. I mean, like as far as like supporting, I have a lot of endeavors, but he's always been there from the start, and I really appreciate that, Justin.
Love it.
Okay, so let's get the meat and potatoes of tonight. Last week we talked a little bit about terms. We talked a little bit about what was going on in the world as far as things changing from terms of services with, what was it? It was not Audible changing, but then also Vela as well, which is episodic.
Spotify did it a few weeks earlier.
Spotify. And so tonight we wanted to talk about, for authors, hey, these are things that you should probably think about when you look at the terms of service. Because listen, I've done it. Everybody's done it. Whenever something comes up, click, click. I'm going through it, sell my soul, which you shouldn't.
That's right.
And because you just want to go ahead and get started. But there's are things that in there that you should probably pump the brakes on and see what is actually being said. Justin says that he brought his tinfoil hat, which I still have mine up. Well, you can't see it, but there was another podcast I was on in previous where we had a segment where we had tinfoil hat time, and we would talk about all the different conspiracy theories that we wanted to talk about at that point, which who knows, maybe that might come back some other time in another podcast. But for tonight, let's get back to on talking.
Red flags.
Yeah. Red flags. And Jen is so wonderful. She made this awesome PowerPoint presentation.
Well, Hyrum did the slides. I just made the document that you can download. Yeah, it was a team effort.
It was a team effort. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he took screenshots and stuck them into a PowerPoint.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That being said, though, if you want to download the whole thing when we're all said and done, you can head over to my website, jcarwrites.com/free-resources, and you can download the 8 terms of service red flags for self-publishing authors. It's there. It's free, and you can get it all in one page and not in 9 different slides.
Very good. So Jen made it. Hyrum made it even better. And I'm the slacker for this week. So,
Yay.
Sometimes it happens like that.
And we're a team. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Jen talk about this, if that's okay.
Are you asking me or them? Because they may disagree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't, then we'll do what we always do. We'll just get.
We'll wing it. Okay. Yeah. No. Let's talk about and this is just 8 terms of service red flags, and there are probably way more. But when you read your terms of service, it can get really boring. As a matter of fact, somebody in this group messaged us the other day. I was like, I'm slogging through terms of service and I'm done. Can we please? I wasn't going to point fingers or anything. Yeah.
It was me.
I didn't even start.
But I get it. Like, it's so hard. But I really, after I learned something very surprising about Kindle Unlimited, which we'll talk about in a minute with their exclusivity, like I was livid. I was so mad because I was breaking rules I had not read about. And that's on me, right? Like I was mad because of me. And so then I started reading ACX terms of service, and I thought, no, we need to talk about, there's more than just one terms of service out there that we need to talk about. So when you're looking at your terms of service, you need to make sure that there's not a rights grab, because if you are self-publishing, you want to maintain control of your work, right? Like you don't want to release that control to anybody. And if it's in the terms of service in any way, shape, or form that says, you can only, if you don't sell enough books, we're going to take your rights and do with it what we will. Like you should be really careful. What are y'all's thoughts on rights grabs?
I don't like them.
It's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
Now, is there any services out there that are utilizing this?
I didn't find any specifically, but it has to be. There has to be.
It's right. Typically the small vanity presses try to do this, but some large presses will do this too, where they will try to take your rights for other things than just what they're publishing, and so that if it got famous, they could get your movie rights.
Yes.
Or they might. The small publishers might want your audio rights. You got to read. If you sign anything, you got to read so that they don't take your other rights. And you want to make sure this is something in negotiating with, like, even if you get an agent, and your agent should help you with this, but don't give up your foreign rights. Don't give up your rights to other languages. There's no reason that Penguin Random House needs your rights to Swahili. Because like Dan Wells. Dan Wells is now a famous author of his own on his own right. He's more famous as Brandon's friend, Brandon Sanderson. But he actually got published first. He made it big in Germany first. So he was famous in Germany. If he'd given up his rights to something, to other publishers, he couldn't necessarily publish otherwise. He travels consistently in Germany, South America. Those are his biggest markets. He's more famous there than he is in the US. So your foreign rights, don't give up rights that you don't have to. Bare minimum to others. Keep them all to yourself.
It's funny that you mentioned Swahili because when I lived in Kenya, I actually picked up a couple words of Swahili. So, asante sana, bwana. Thank you very much, man.
I love it.
Beautiful.
That's fantastic.
That's not the only thing I can say now. It's been so long.
That's pretty good though. Like just to just whip that right out. That's good.
Something.
That's awesome. And also with all of these, like anytime you're going to sign a contract, like if you were working with a publishing house or like have a lawyer look over anything. Don't just rely on internet or whatever, or your spouse, or like find a lawyer who will be in your best interest. If you're paying them, they want you to stay with them, so they're going to do what's in your best interest most of the time. And so find you a lawyer.
Is your spouse.
Is that allowed? Is that allowed? I don't know if that's it. I don't know. Is that legal?
That's kind of like having an editor as a spouse. It's fantastic.
There are perks and benefits out there. Okay, well, let's look at number 2 because this is one I actually saw with the Amazon KDP, if I'm not mistaken. It was KDP or Unlimited, and it may be in both. But termination and reversion clauses, which just means that they can terminate your contract, your terms, whatever. They can just terminate it when they see fit. And there was actually a clause in, or maybe it was Amazon, one of their Amazon clauses, where it was like, oh, it's Kindle Unlimited, because it said, even if we terminate your account, you are still held liable to the Kindle Unlimited terms of service until your 90 days is up with Kindle Unlimited. So even if after 2 days, they're like, nope, we're done with you. You still have, 87, 88 more days, however many are left, on your contract with them before you can take your book elsewhere. And so you have to be very careful with those termination clauses.
Although I have heard that people can email KDP and then they'll have them removed from that. So I don't think that's a hard rule. I mean, it is a rule.
Yeah.
But it's not.
If you don't know that you can email them, then you're just
right. Exactly. I mean, that's why you need to be really plugged into different writing groups and different, authoring groups.
Yeah.
One that's also very, if you end up going traditional at some point, make sure that if they stop trying to push your book, if they stop printing your book, there should be clauses in your contract that the rights revert to you if they don't do something about it over a certain amount of time. Because that way you can then self-publish. You can take it. You and your agent can try to get someone else to push it. This is especially valuable if you're not just a once and done kind of author. If you are writing a backlog, you want to have your backlog be able to follow you if the publisher stops supporting. Because you never know which of the books that you publish is going to take off. And so that's when your backlog becomes so important is, book number 6 is huge and book number 1 is out of print and I can't get them to reprint it even though I'm selling 1,000 copies a week. So you want to, if they've stopped publishing, take your rights back.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely. So keep an eye out for those. All right. Let's move to number 3, royalty rates and payment terms. And this is one that's really, none of us think that royalty rates are high enough. Like we just don't. Because they're not. They're below industry standards, but we're also desperate and we're like, hey, pay us whatever. But if it looks shifty or shady and it's like way below industry standards, or if they're saying, hey, it's really confusing, but this is how we pay you, maybe check that as a red flag.
That's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if y'all had anybody examples you wanted to share. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, like I was really
Well,
Katie,
honestly, that kind of reminds me of the email that you got this past week, as far as like, hey, why don't you come? Do we want to talk about that?
You can, yeah, that's fine.
So, well, that should be a podcast for another time.
Okay.
I mean, no, because if we're going to talk about shysters and we're going to talk about like, that kind of goes back to the whole watch out for the potholes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So for just real quick, and we'll probably talk about this on the next podcast. Jen got this amazing email to show up on another podcast, which was just great. Yeah. But she had to pay $250 to have that privilege to show up on a what was it?
500.
Oh, 500.
Unless you are,
I got a
unless
discount.
you are of a certain group, then you could get a discount.
Yes. And I mean, I looked up this podcast and I think we're better than they are.
We don't charge.
Yeah, well, that we don't charge, but I mean, we've only been at it for 10 weeks and I think our statistics are pretty darn good. So I'm just like,
people like us.
And then just the email that she shared.
It was slimy. It
was snake oil. It was very snake oilish. And anyway, so
and that's a whole other can of red flags.
Yeah, that's a can of worms.
It is. It's like all these.
The ick test.
Yeah. It was Ooh, that is a good way to put it. Like, does it pass the ick test? Because we all know exactly what that means. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Number 4. Hidden costs and fees. So if you're looking, distribution or marketing, that there all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, that's going to cost you, right? Mm-hmm. Like your publishing platform that's going to vanity presses. I mean, that's like the biggest red flag you could possibly I thought somebody had motioned that they were going to say something, but anyway, like if they're going to charge you and it wasn't disclosed up front, red flag. I love that Hyrum just is the red flag for tonight. You see, just hit me. Sorry, go ahead. Okay.
Totally by accident. I guess I am a red flag.
Okay, non-compete clauses. This is one that I found in the Kindle Unlimited as well, and it goes with their exclusivity stuff. But like ability to publish other works, even unrelated ones, during the term of agreement. So if you can't publish any other work with any other service during your terms of agreement, and not just similar, like red flag. Like if there's a non-compete clause, like. Have y'all ever experienced that?
In an ideal world, people would be loyal to the product and not the seller.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't matter where you go. And so non-compete clauses should go with the way of the dodo. They're pretty much meant for companies, employees, because the employees have unique and valuable information. Why are we doing this to authors? I'm selling my product. You just happen to be a distributor. And if you want to have a non-compete, if you want to sell all my stuff, then you better be paying me for all of my stuff.
Yep. And fairly. Very fair. Wow. Okay. Number 6, mandatory arbitration clauses. So, it's like you can't take us to court. I'm sorry. I can if I want to, but that's, there's some people.
This is a challenging one.
It is
a challenging one because in many fields, this is a great way of saving money.
Right.
Because it acts in reverse. Too, is that they can't just sue you. They have to use the arbitration too.
Right.
Because there's no way I can afford a lawyer. But yes, if it's in a jurisdiction that you can't access, like Kenya, then maybe not a great arbitration clause for you if you're in the U.S.
Yep. Like look out for yourself, not the company. Yes, absolutely. And that's the other thing. If you need a recommendation for an entertainment specific lawyer who deals with creatives, I've got one in my back pocket that I will gladly share with y'all.
How does she fit? Sorry.
Red flag, Hyrum. All right. Moving on to number 7, automatic renewal clauses. I hate auto renewal anything because I don't want to be locked in to anything, and yet automatic renewal does just that. Y'all ever experienced that in the author world?
Not in the author world yet, but constantly in all other
in life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You look at your bank account and you're like, oh, where'd that? Oh, that's where it went.
My 17 auto renewed account. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they do exist, and sometimes. And if I'm not mistaken, unless you tell them to pull it, like Kindle Unlimited automatically renews your enrollment, and so you have to make sure you go in and cancel that. Otherwise, you're held to their their rules. Control over marketing and pricing. This is one that I can't stand because, again, Amazon has this issue as well, and it was on their ACX terms as well. They can set the price for your audiobook through ACX, when you use their services, and they don't care what you're making off of it. They choose the price or can change the price, that kind of thing. So if you're not up for that, without consent or input, then that's a red flag for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And just like that, those are the 8 major red flags to look out for.
I think that there is an unspoken ninth, and like you mentioned, the ick test. I think that anytime that something seems too good to be true and it starts giving you like that, is this real? Ask the questions, because too good to be true. When I was younger, I might have fallen for some of these things because, of course, I didn't have experience. Especially, this is for our younger authors and our much older authors.
Yes.
Always second guess something that seems awesome. It's probably fake, because nothing comes easy.
But it's a great way to gain wisdom.
Suffering, yes.
by suffering, by just going at it.
Yes. Okay. Do you guys? I hope you guys are just as big of Calvin and Hobbes nerds as I was growing up. There's a scene where Calvin's dad is looking for his glasses, and he doesn't know where they are. And then Calvin walks in with his hair combed, wearing his dad's glasses, and he looks at his dad and says, "Calvin, go do something that you hate. Being miserable builds character."
Oh.
And that dad said that.
Oh, you repeat what you hear. So because I write Christian fiction, I am in several Christian fiction author groups on Facebook. And I'm not going to lie, the majority of the people in that group are either older or naive and way too trusting.
Right.
And all of those messages that we get, saying, "Hey, I have these services. I would love to market your book. Are you interested?" Da, 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 da. And most of them are like, "Absolutely." And I'm like, I've got an auto response message that says, "If you have a real question, send another message." And that, that's how it works.
That's really good. I like
because
that.
I'm like, I don't have time. Yeah. Through the Meta Business Suite, you can set auto response. Yeah.
See, I was doing that, but I kept on I had a messenger bot like that, but I kept on getting those stupid, your account is against Facebook policy and you have to sign in here, which is basically a scam to get your login information. So, I was getting like 4 or 5 a day, and it was just exhausting. So finally I just turned off the messenger, although I like your thing.
Yep, that's what and most of the time they don't. They're like, okay, never mind.
What's crazy is now since they can't reach me through Messenger, they're starting to tag me on posts. They're starting to like comment on my page. It's like, come on, people. I mean,
leave me alone.
Yes, like, anyway.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
But those are red flags, and then they don't see it, and they're like, they just automatically say, "Oh, you're willing to help me market my book." I'm like, no, they're not. I promise you, they're not. But what do you say to that?
If they approach you, 99% of the time they're scammers.
That is correct.
You approach them, you probably vetted them, and so they're probably not.
Yeah,
or they could still be, but it's much lower odds.
I'm so, I wouldn't say self-reliant, but I don't like going out of my way to talk to people. So I would like for people to come talk to me about, hey, collaboration, but I'm also a rattler snake, or, like I'll
yeah.
I'll bite you. Josh
is scary.
well, no, I mean, I'm friendly, but it's just like, I'm really quick to be, I don't trust people. It's just like, I'm really quick to.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The scammers are constantly evolving, and
that's true.
Sometimes the scams don't seem scammy until you're too deep to know.
Yeah.
You're starting to, what's that bias? I'm not the psychiatrist in the room, so.
I'm not a psychiatrist.
Or psychology, whatever.
Yeah.
The head shrinker. So what's it when you've gotten so deep that now you have, like, you're biased that it has to be right, and so you have to defend it?
It's your confirmation bias.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So don't let yourself get that far. Be more cynical. Don't trust.
Yes.
Don't trust people on the
Absolutely.
internet until you have reason to trust them. And if it's too good to be true, that's what I always come back to. It's too good to be true. Don't trust it.
Yep. Not that it has to be hard, but if it's that easy, right? Like there's no such thing as an easy dollar. There's no such thing as free, you know, like it's, except when you go to my website, the free resources, those are actually free. You don't have to pay for those. There are paid resources, but the free ones are actually free.
Well, at the same time, though, I don't want people to be jaded and think that everybody 1% of the time is probably right.
Yeah.
99% of the time is probably not. So, I mean, because like until I found 20 books to 50K, every other writing group or every group that was like that was always behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And I was so angry. I'm like, what's the point? Or what, you know, and then I found 20 books on Facebook, and I just can't get over how amazing that Facebook group is as far as like resources, or just you're reading through some of the posts and being like, oh, that's an interesting idea on the business aspect, not writing, just the business aspect. So I think that's anyway. So when you come across different things like that, it could, you know, along the same point, right? I mean, some things can be too good to be true, but then other times you'll find good resources like that, and it's like, oh, this really is good.
Well,
but I went and found that. They didn't find me. So,
but what's the key there? Transparency. That's
Right.
the key. If they will be transparent with you, if there's an openness about it, if they're not saying, hey, you have to pay to play, you know, that should be a big green flag.
No, I totally agree.
And oddly enough, you'd think in a writer's world that there'd be more of grammar would be better, but the scammers haven't figured that part out.
That's
The
true.
grammar
You can
is
tell.
off the wall bad. Guaranteed they are a scammer. Or there are exceptions. I met a really nice man from Thailand through a writer's thing, but he was an illustrator. He was a Photoshop expert, and he answered a question I had on a writer's group post, and he went back and forth. He was very polite. His grammar was atrocious, but he was a real person.
Right.
And now I'm Facebook friends with him because
Nice.
so that's the exception. Test them out, because most of those times it's tragic, but they are not. They're bad characters trying to get your money.
Case in point, I reached out to both of y'all, and that's how y'all ended up on my podcast, which is how we ended up here. So, you know, not everybody's a scammer.
No, but
we all have problems.
Speak for yourself.
All right.
Let's not let this evolve into an AA meeting.
Yeah.
We've
All right.
reached our max.
It is now 42 minutes, which 42 is the answer to life. I want everybody, if everybody that's watching can see that Hyrum is wearing a red shirt. Although it looks really nice. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. I'm like, no, it's a good thing that he's not on the away team. He wouldn't be coming back.
We're the green flag. Sorry,
Hyrum. Yeah. All right. So that's our authorsdilemma@gmail.com. If you have any comments about tonight or any of the past episodes, or if you would like to, heck, even if you'd like to critique us or send hate mail, that's fine. Insult.
Josh in that one.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten nearly enough hate mail in my life.
Yeah. I mean, try to scam us. Send it. No, I'm joking.
It's a phishing test.
Yeah. But jokes aside, we would love to hear from you. Or if you have any ideas that you would like to hear about, we would like to explore and see if we can talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So anything else from you two?
Nope.
All right. Everyone, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.